I'm in a situation, I'm never a fly on the wall. People never tell me, or I never hear what they really think of you. I guess they think I know what's going on. But the fact was, I did so many of these sort of morally responsive roles, whether it was Star Chamber as a judge or with the China Syndrome, that this sort of light, fun kind of character, who anybody who knows me says, you know, you've been getting away with murder, man. It's about time you played a part that was a little closer to yourself, like this part in Romancing the Stone. So I've enjoyed it, and people said, gee, I didn't know you could do that kind of stuff. And I love kind of doing a little comedy, you know. I mean, I really got a kick out of this picture. It was a lot of fun. So I'm real proud of it.
Are you an athletic kind of guy? I know you did a runner, but you know, you had to do a hell of a lot of
did a lot of stunts. There. We did a lot of stunts. I'm a little less so. I had a real bad knee operation, a skiing accident. I enjoy sports a lot. You also have to be careful in a picture like this. You can't overextend yourself, because if you get hurt, you know, you shut down the whole film. So you try to find that balance. But yes, I enjoy the physicalities of making pictures. I used to do a lot on the streets of San Francisco. I found it a way of relaxing from the kind of sitting around waiting to go on. It's good to get out of breath every once in a while. It makes you feel good.
All right, you says this person is a little bit like you. Is there a little bit of a hippie in Michael Douglas somewhere?
Oh yeah, I'm a product of the '60s. I enjoyed it. Grew up in California, and there's a definite part of me from kind of a throwback from another era, living some of those values out. Sure, there's not much room for it in the world of big business and everything, but yeah, I enjoyed that period.
Let me do some. Let me have you some 1 or 2 sentence comments about some of these things I'm going to throw out here real quick. Karl Malden.
I love him. He taught me a work ethic like nobody I've ever seen before. He maintained the quality of that television series, and I miss seeing him more often.
Do you have an American Express card?
After this picture, I do.
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda gets more done in a day than anybody I've ever seen. She has the ability to do 11 different things at the same time. I was producing with her company and acting in China Syndrome, and I still felt like I was doing nothing when I was around her.
The Academy Awards.
I think it's going to be a Terms of Endearment sweep. It reminds me a lot of the year Cuckoo's Nest was on, that kind of same emotion. We had 9 nominations, won the big 5 that year, and I think Terms is going to get a lot of awards.
How important are the awards to you? Are they?
Well, sure they're.
Or is money more important, the box office, or is it?
Well, I think it's a combination. I mean, certainly a nomination is great. A win is fine. If you have a chance, if you're the producer and it's a Best Picture, it can mean $20 million in the box office. So that's nothing to sneeze about.
Running, since we mentioned it before.
Running, I defend. It was not a popular picture. I got in better shape than I ever did in my life. We came out okay. It followed the China Syndrome. It was a little picture that should have just had a life of its own and came and went, and was, I felt, attacked a little too hard, particularly after, I think, after the China Syndrome.
Spartacus.
One of my father's favorite. I think it put me out of the acting business for a number of years. You know, we used to be as kids saying, geez, how are we ever going to do it? Look, the old man's hanging up there on the cross, and he's leading the armies and everything like that. I said, this is a tough act to follow. I thought, a lot of people don't realize that my father produced that picture too, and that really has been the biggest advantage of being a second generation, is learning the production and what was going on behind the scenes. It was amazing production.
Is your family pretty close? You seem to have a lot of families involved in these, brothers and.
We are. We're a very tight family. Well, my brother Joel was a co-producer and sort of watched my back while I was on camera and everything in terms of shooting this. And obviously, my father and I live really close to each other. And he saw Romancing the Stone last week, and I think was real impressed and loved to get his opinion. He's still going strong.
Is he a lot like the Spartacus kind of guy? Is he a tough guy?
Well, he's
as
tough.
a father.
Yeah, he is funny. We were talking, Jim, the other day, and he says, man, I'm so glad I can finally talk to you. You've mellowed out to me, Michael, you're more relaxed, you're easier to talk with. I looked at him, I said, Dad, did you ever think maybe it's you who've relaxed and mellowed out? And he said, what are you talking about? I think it is. I think it's a combination. He's great. I think he's sort of sighed a relief, and his sons are all off on their own and doing fine, and it's given him a satisfaction.
Hope you don't find offense in this, but as I watched this movie last night, I kept seeing Kirk Douglas up there a lot, and I've never seen that in you, and I've seen all your films. I've never noticed it before. I mean, you noticed it a little bit, but I really noticed it last night in a little bit of acting style and in physical characteristics. You're looking more like your father.
Well, half of him is me. That's the truth. I think
Well, he slugged me for that comment. I don't know if... you know.
I think it's probably true. I must say, quite consciously, in my early career, I shied away from any mannerisms that might have been like my father's, in a sort of a struggle or an idea to create my own identity. I guess what's happened, besides whatever physicalities are going on, that I just feel confident that there are parts of me that are similar to him, which allow me a bigger range, and I'm happy. You know.
As a film supervisor, since you wear both hats, in the brush off of all this the Twilight Zone disaster and all that, this was a very dangerous looking film anyway. How was that in your mind very much?
Yes, it was. Actually, we started filming this soon after the Twilight Zone disaster. Vic Morrow was someone I'd worked with a lot on Streets of San Francisco, was a friend. And it's a major responsibility. You have got to work things out very carefully, particularly in a film that had as many stunts as this did. And you just have to be responsible. I mean, accidents do happen, and they're multiplied by the increased amount of activity. But I'm fortunate enough to say that we had a couple of minor problems, but we got through it okay.
How many restless nights during this past 5 years have you spent worrying about this film, either as an actor, as a producer, as anything?
Well, not too many until once the production started. I mean, you struggle through the years to get it made, and then you put it to bed for a while, and you try. But once it got going, I'd be a fool to tell you there were not a lot of restless nights. It was a tough shoot. When you have that responsibility, every once in a while you look around at 250 people out in the middle of the jungle, and it's pouring rain, you got mudslides going on, and there's a little expression called a runaway production. It's like this little ghost sitting on your shoulder and say, boy, is this going to be it? I mean, are we going to get through it okay? Plus, all the little details that you worry about, that you don't have to worry about when you're only acting. So that's why I think this has done it for me as far as wearing both hats, and I'm planning on going back east now and just focusing on acting and enjoying the freedom of not having to worry about everything else.
Well, that follows this next question then. Are you able to have a personal life at all?
Not really, Jimmy. The way that I've structured it with my family is something's got to give, and when I'm doing a picture, my family takes a back seat. And the only reason that they're able to do that is that I then take big chunks of time off to focus only with my family. So when Romancing the Stone comes out, like March 30th, and then I'll wind it up about a week afterwards, and then I'm going to spend the summer with my family, and particularly my son. And they all seem to be in sync. That seems to be the best way to do it. I think for anybody, forgetting even this business, it's very tough, especially with newlyweds, trying to struggle with a career and your family at the same time. Something's got to give.
What effect did being a Hollywood kid have on you in negative or positive sense? Obviously, you learned the craft, and that was an advantage, and you had a lot of connections, which made it very well. But
well, that helps. The big plus is you just learn it, as you say, the craft and the business. So you can handle the successes and you can handle the failures a little better. Plus, you just appreciate so much how fortunate you are to be in this. The negative side is you are expected to succeed, which is very unrealistic in this day and the age. And if you fail, you get much more attention brought upon. So there's no upside. I mean, even after all the struggle of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, people sort of expected it. After Romancing the Stone now, if you have the kind of success it looks like we're going to have, you want to enjoy it a little bit and savor it rather than people just saying, well, of course, you know, it comes from the family, and what do you expect? It's not that easy. Your family can't do anything to help you in the jungles in Mexico, or they can't put you in a part. But I feel fortunate, and I'm going to party a little bit after it's all over.
How well do you handle criticism? What criticism you've gotten over the years, since you have had big successes and not really big failures, but there have been a few.
Well, I'm one of those people who, who never really hear it, except maybe, in critics. I don't enjoy criticism when there's nothing you can do about it. So, for instance, on movies, I love showing, to a lot of people and friends the first cut of the picture and getting as much input as I can. Because if one person says that something's wrong, I won't listen. But if 3 or 4 or 5 mention the same thing, then you got something to do. Once the movie's over, and other than the roles of critics who you live with, and you, depending how hard your height is or response, you take it. Personal criticism I'm not really that interested to, and are fairly defensive about, because there's nothing I can do about it at that time.
Well, what did you think when you first saw the completed film with people?
Well,
this is really... Was that good? Were you surprised?
Well, I'm still feeling it out. This is really one of the first times we've only shown the picture twice. I showed it once to the studio, 3 times. Once to the studio, once to like an audience, like a test audience at the studio, and that wasn't even finished. We've only shown the picture once to a finished audience, which is a whole bunch of friends, so-called friends from Hollywood. No one's really that happy with your success and getting a response. And now this is the first time we're getting a feedback, and yeah, I'm pretty excited.
That's great. Well, I really enjoyed the film.